Hey guys, this is Ryan with this week's update. This week I want to talk about contracts, specifically 5 things you need to look at in every contract before you sign. I get a lot of questions, especially from YouTubers that get new network contracts in, no idea what to look for. So I want to give you guys 5 things that you want to look at in every contract before you sign. Okay, item number 1, the party. Who is the contract with? This may seem obvious, but you've got to look. Emails may have been going back and forth with different people. Look at the parties. Do you know who they are? Is it who you thought you were signing with? Is it a parent company? It could be anything. Take a few minutes, do an internet search. Find out who they are, what do you know about them. You'd be surprised at what you can find. You might find something really interesting. You might find problems that other people have run into that'll give you a leg up in your negotiations. Okay, second, the rights. What does the contract grant? Does it talk about intellectual property rights? Does it talk about only the specific project you're working on? Does it grant the other party rights to things already in existence? Does it grant rights to everything you ever do from that point forward? Find out what rights the contract grants. You want to know what you're giving away in exchange for compensation, which we'll talk about next. So 3, compensation. What does the contract grant you? What are you getting from this contract? Make sure it's spelled out. Maybe at one point you got an email from the other party that said, we're going to give you X, Y, and Z. This is why it's such a great deal. Does the contract say that? Does it spell out what the terms of those compensation is? Does it tell you when you're going to get paid? Does it tell you how you're going to get paid? It needs to say those things. If it's blank, tell them you want something about your compensation. You want to know when you're going to get paid. You want to know how you get paid. Are there times when you might not get paid? Spell all those things out. 4th, term. This is really important, guys. Your contract needs to have a clause about the term. I don't know how many contracts I've seen where the term is in perpetuity. That means forever. That is a horrible, horrible idea. Any client of mine that ever comes to me with a contract that says in perpetuity, I start by scratching out the whole clause and we start over. It's a bad idea, period. I don't care what they're offering you. So term, make sure it spells out something that's realistic. Is it a year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? It can be any length of time, but make sure it spells it out. Can anybody cancel or terminate this clause of the contract? Make sure it spells out what sort of termination is allowed. Can you terminate? Can they terminate? Can you terminate for any reason? Can only they terminate? That's also super common and not a good idea. Make sure you have a way out. Contracts do go bad for a lot of different reasons, and it's not anybody's fault. Sometimes contracts just don't work out. You need to have a way to get out of the contract. Okay guys, 5, controlling law. This is another really important area, and it's often overlooked because it's a little paragraph towards the end of the contract. Controlling law is important because it tells where you have to go if you're going to arbitrate or litigate this contract and the law that will apply to it. This can be somewhere that's way far away from you and make it really, really hard to litigate. And you may not even be able to litigate. This is going to say whether you're stuck with arbitration. Are you only allowed to arbitrate your contract? Those are all things you want to know before you sign. This clause is going to be a lot harder to change because a lot of big companies are going to set the controlling law as the state they're in, but be aware of what it is. Know going into that contract, if something bad happens, I'm going to be stuck with litigation or arbitration, and it's going to be in this state. Know that going into it. Okay guys, as a final takeaway, Don't sign anything you are not comfortable with. Take the time to negotiate it now. Figure out the important parts to you before signing. Contracts go bad all the time. It's no party's fault, but it happens. Make sure what you're signing is something you're happy with long term. As always, guys, if you get into a contract and you're not sure about things, contact a professional. We'd love to help you here at Braun Legal and look over your contract for you and see what's going on. It doesn't take much time, and it's a lot of peace of mind for not a lot of cost. Have a great one. Look forward to next week's update. Talk to you guys all later.